So there's a lot of talk about a looming government shutdown. Well, regardless of whether or not there's a shutdown, a deal will get done. Both the Dems and the GOP love to spend. And if you recall, the debt ceiling was lifted. So there is no debt ceiling right now. So what you're going to see sometime in the next couple of months is a big budget deal will get done, a multi-trillion-dollar deal, most of it debt funded. And so what that means is Treasury's going to have to issue debt to fund this deal whenever it happens. The Fed will have to monetize much of the deal, which means more printed money. So between printing money to support the regional banks, between printing money to send to Ukraine, to print money to finish up the fiscal 2023 budgetary spend items, and between printing money for this upcoming massive multi-trillion-dollar budgetary deal for 2024, you're going to see the money supply continue to grow. And by the way, it's been growing for the past several months, which means reduced purchasing power for the dollar and more inflation. And by the way, if you listen to our podcast, if you read us at Tech Today, you know that the Fed is still, despite all of its tough talk, in an accommodative stance with respect to its monetary policy. Because if you follow the Fed and the way it treats CPI, which assumes that as goods get expensive, consumers rotate into less expensive goods, the CPI no longer calculates the prices for like goods and services as it did in 1980. It assumes consumers rotate down. So it's no longer an apples to apples comparison metric. So the real CPI number is a lot higher than mid threes, probably pushing 10, maybe even higher. So real rates, despite being at 5.5, are still negative. The Fed is still accommodative, and it's going to get a heck of a lot more accommodative in 2024 because with this new debt deal, the current debt level of $33 trillion is about to go a lot higher. And the average interest expense on the outstanding debt of $33 trillion is about 2.8%. So when that starts to drift north of 3, you're going to be talking about an interest expense north of $1 trillion for a government that only brings in about $4.5 trillion in tax revenue. So the government simply can't allow the interest expense to balloon from here because it doesn't bring in enough tax revenue as it is. So there will be more debt. There will be more taxes. Post-2024 election, taxes going up, and inflation is here to stay. I'm sorry to say. That's all for now. See you next time.